you're about to find that this next chapter is very easy for you. I say that because how it's coming out is like, I think you're sitting in this energy and realm of anticipating what's coming next, because things are closing in one chapter and you can kind of see the page is turning. And I've said this before, as a collective, we're in a waiting room, but even on a personal level, a lot of us are seeing like, it was once like this and it's about to be like this, but we're not quite there just yet. So kind of seeing what's to come, feeling that intuition, feeling that forethought, feeling that foresight of things coming full circle, maybe feeling like, wow, I'm starting to see that that's the reason I learned that, or that's the reason I went through that, because it's all becoming relative right now. It's all becoming relevant. It's all becoming relevant right now. And maybe you went years without realizing why you did something a certain way or had to go through something a certain way. And yeah, I think that's part of it. You're seeing here that a new beginning is emerging in front of your eyes. It's not quite there yet, but we're just about there. We're putting on our running shoes, you know what I mean, our new ones for the next race kind of thing. But I think you're going to be more prepared than you have ever been for any endeavor. Interesting. Yeah, I think, you know, where maybe you went through something really difficult before, you know, you kept to yourself. You didn't, during your hardest days, you didn't hurt other people or squash other people or I don't know, you just didn't. You took the major lesson from this was that, you know, you don't have to fear yourself. You don't have to fear being alone. You don't have to fear the cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times in the cold is where we learn the most about ourselves. And I think that maybe you took that seriously. Yeah. You stayed in your head for a really long time about it. You calculated, you planned, you thought, you removed, you made choices, you made adjustments, you made changes to your life. You put things different places, you changed things around. Yeah, exactly. You looked within to look for the truth. You looked within and rejected the outside, you know, opinions when it came to trying to get to the bottom of finding out who you really are on the inside. And, you know, sometimes that requires a major choice, and that can look like a lot of things, and, you know, removing yourself. Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of detachment and disharmony and moving on and apathy and incompatibility and, yeah, an imbalance. Like, I think, you know, you rested in that a long time, and you were very comfortable in this in this kind of like self-suffering cycle, you know, and maybe you didn't realize it was self-suffering at first, but that's part of what you're learning. And I think that's part of you're realizing that you have more of a hand in what happens to you than I think you were led on to. But yeah, I think you're calling it, you know, you're calling it over. You're calling this cycle to its end. You're allowing it the space to close up and to change and to transform in front of you without giving it too much of an expectation of what's to come, because I feel you feel prepared for whatever that next step is, you know, like cutting your losses and realizing you can exert your energy more efficiently elsewhere. Oh, jeez. Yeah, a lot of just, you know, a lot of heaviness, a lot of feelings of burden, like a lot of feelings of injustice, but like at the same time, like, you know, realizing that this all comes with a lack of accountability. You know, what we allow will continue. Yeah, it's an insecure space. It's almost like, you know, but it's to say that you were uneducated. You didn't know. You don't know you don't know something until, you know what I mean? Like, you don't always know. You don't always know. You don't always get the right tools growing up. You don't always get the right, experiences right off the bat. But, like, in my opinion, it always works itself out, because you may not know why you're learning something or seeing something today, and you may not know for a day, a week, a year, 10 years, a freaking century. You may not know until we move on to a different, state of being entirely, and that's up to interpretation. But all I mean is, you were living away for a while, and something happened where you can no longer live and accept that way any longer. And you know that to be true. So, with that being said, you have internally changed, which will in turn change the external. It's just, in this physicality, in this, 340 whatever dimensional world that we can see and perceive with our human eyes, that's how that works. There's a little bit of a lag. But you have to start within for it to be reflected on the outside. Like I've always said, you have to smile at the mirror before it smiles back. It will never smile before you decide to. Yes. I think you were up for the challenge, and I think you used every bit of your energy to, focus on yourself, to keep this going for yourself, and to keep yourself motivated when no one else really, because you saw the end goal, you saw the outcome, you saw where this was going when nobody else believed you. And they're about to believe you and then some, and then ask you some questions, because I think people are going to start seeing, like, oh my God, she or they know what they're talking about, and what they went through, like, they did that by themselves. That means I can do that by myself. Yeah. Within where you're meant to be, what's important to you, and what resonates with your soul, on a soul level, like, and what doesn't. Yeah. Let yourself off the hook, you know what I mean? Forgive yourself for allowing what you've allowed thus far. And I'm not to say that, the forgiveness shouldn't be extended to others, but I need you to understand, like, at the end of the day, forgiveness is really for us. Forgiveness is really letting ourselves off the hook, okay? And until we do that, we're hurting ourselves at the benefit to really no one. You know what I'm saying? And, that is a choice. That is a choice that you are allowed to make as anybody. We all have free will, right? That is an important, thing here. But mind you, you're never going to hurt somebody else more than yourself when you stay in that kind of energy. Yeah. It's better to just release. It hurts at first, but, and be vulnerable with yourself, talk with yourself, decide what you want. Don't doubt yourself so much. You wouldn't have gotten this far if you didn't know what you were talking about a little bit, okay? Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Anything else? Judgment Day is upon us all. It's gonna be okay. The page will turn and life will move on. And like I said at the beginning, because I want to keep it on that same note, you are equipped for this next chapter. You are ready for what's to come, and you won't even know in the moment how you're doing it. It'll just work out. It'll just work out. And you've got to believe that, because that's the mentality that has gotten you to where you're at right now. So keep doing what works and let go of what doesn't, and have a peaceful day.